Chapter 811. Character Advantage. It was just one attack, so it obviously wouldn't instantly kill Shoot Here, but Chow Yifan's position established a huge advantage for him. Facing a Ghost Blade in a duel, no pro player would allow themselves be affected by so many ghost boundaries at the same time. Chow Yifan cleverly used this map to lure his opponent into a trap, instantly deciding victory. Shoot Here tried his best, but in the second round of the individual competition, Chow Yifan swiftly won. This shift in tides was too quick. The face slappers were still absorbed in the previous round's victory and looking down on Team Happy disdainfully. When the second round began, their contempt was still concentrated on 1-inch Ash, but before they could fully adjust themselves, the tides of battle shifted and 1-inch Ash took down his opponent. Everyone was left speechless. The spectators were speechless. Team Everlasting also felt like their face had been slapped. They had chosen this map in order to bully their green opponents. Who would have thought that their opponents would be the one to use this map to bully them? This loss not only resulted in a loss of points, but a loss of face too. The system didn't care about anyone's feelings. Once the match concluded, the third round of the individual competition immediately began. The map chosen for this third round was still Riverside Corridor. Team Everlasting had clearly done their research on this map. Using the same map for every round in the individual competition clearly showed their intent to eradicate Team Happy for good. Their decision came with belittlement. Team Everlasting thought that Team Happy wouldn't be able to utilize the map's characteristics in just 2 or 3 rounds. But after the second round, the players on Team Everlasting were no longer calm, but it was too late to regret it now. The maps could not be changed midway. The third person to come out from Team Everlasting was their team's Warlock, Leopold. Be careful, the player for the Warlock Leopold was warned repeatedly. Team Everlasting had acknowledged Team Happy's skill level from the start. From their action of going over to their front steps to talk, the degree of their acknowledgement wasn't low. They felt like the players on Team Happy would be an addition to their strength. Their attention hadn't been fixed on just God Yi Chu. During the period of time when Team Happy accepted challenges, Soft Mist appeared the most, then Steamed Bun Invasion, then Windward Formation. Team Everlasting looked highly upon all 3 of them. With Team Happy as their opponents, they also attached the most importance to these 3. They had even come up with plans to counter them. This was just their attitude towards competition though. While Team Everlasting recognized the strength of these 3 players, and were not afraid. If they really were afraid, Heian would not have acted so lofty when he came to Happy. Team Everlasting had meticulously chosen their maps and their player order. In terms of strategy, Team Everlasting took Team Happy quite seriously. But in the individual competition, it was already 1-1. Their victory was against Steamed Bun Invasion, who they had been wary of, but their loss was against 1-inch Ash, who they had ignored. Did Team Happy have anyone else like 1-inch Ash? Team Everlasting suddenly felt at a loss. How could they dare to be careless in the third round? Leopold stood at the competitor spot. At the same, Team Happy's next competitor appeared as well. Another Warlock. Windward Formation. The third round would be a contest between 2 characters of the same class, putting an even greater emphasis on the player's skill. Team Everlasting released a sigh of relief when they saw their opponent. Windward Formation was an unknown, at least. Moreover, in a battle between 2 characters of the same class, apart from the player's skill level, the character's strength would also be a significant deciding factor. Team Everlasting was very confident here. It was already extraordinary for an internet cafe grassroots team to have players of such caliber. How strong could their characters be? Could their equipment be better than ours? Could their characters have more skill points than ours? Team Everlasting smiled. Their warning to be careful didn't seem necessary now. The spectators didn't know about Team Everlasting's confidence. After being slapped in the face, they appeared even more cautious than Team Everlasting. Their contempt towards Team Happy continued, but before the outcome was determined, they couldn't spit out any more slander. The match soon started. Despite being confident, Team Everlasting's players still showed caution. On the contrary, on Team Happy's side, Windward Formation looked very carefree, heading straight for Leopold. The face slappers really wanted to say something. Their hands hovered over their keyboards, but none of them typed out anything. Team Everlasting's Warlock took no notice. He continued with his original plan. Suddenly, he felt the sky darken above him. He looked up and saw dark clouds covering him. Chaotic rain. He was startled. Leopold escaped outside of its range, while looking in that direction. Sure enough, it was a spell casted by windward formation. This. Impossible. The warlock player looked at where he had just escaped from. Rain poured down from those dark clouds. The attack had come, but he had been caught completely off guard because in his eyes, the two sides weren't even in range yet. When he looked at windward formation, he confirmed that windward formation had been outside of his attack range. But windward formation had already cast a spell. Does that mean his cast range is 3 units more than mine? Cast range was an extremely valuable stat for mages. A greater cast range meant more distance. More distance meant more time to take the initiative, but in terms of cast range, his Leopold actually lost to windward formation? Didn't that mean Leopold's equipment was inferior to windward formation's? Impossible. Team Everlasting's warlock player was dumbfounded. He didn't want to believe it. The equipment on these grassroots characters was actually better than the equipment that they had refined since their beginnings in the pro scene? The distance was a bit far, so he couldn't see windward formation's equipment. After windward formation used chaotic rain, he followed up with another attack. The corridor was narrow, so after a few consecutive curses, Leopold had nowhere left to run. Windward formation had formed a curse arrow too. At this moment, if he didn't want to receive damage, he only one had choice: fight back. Team Everlasting's warlock hastily made a move. Leopold also formed a curse arrow. This skill could be charged. The longer the charge time, the stronger it became. Windward formation didn't seem to want to waste time though. He charged it for a bit and fired it. Team Everlasting's warlock timed it well and determined that his charge time wasn't any shorter than windward formation's before firing his own arrow. The two curse arrows collided, passing through the corridor and landed in the water. That dark energy seemed to be splitting space itself. The resulting collision made it impossible for Team Everlasting's warlock to see windward formation. A thought flashed through his mind and he immediately cast a new skill. Warlock skill, Death's Door. Leopold's cast range didn't allow for him to directly attack windward formation. However, Death's Door had its own attack range of 18 units, so he didn't need to place it directly on top of his opponent. Taking advantage of the chaotic explosion formed by the two curse arrows, he started casting this powerful skill to attack his opponent, but because of the difference in cast range and because of his position in the corner, he would only be able to take a beating, unable to return fire. This high-level skill was complex and had a long cast time. After Team Everlasting's player finished the appropriate actions, Leopold waved his staff and prepared the curse. Suddenly, he heard a bang. In front of him, a black revolving door came out from a tear in space. Dark energy spread as it revolved and grabbed Leopold. At this distance, it was too late to dodge. Leopold's own Death's Door was interrupted. He was grabbed by the dark energy and pulled into the door. The door engulfed him and Leopold's image turned faint. Death's Door did instant burst damage. Not just Team Everlasting's warlock, but when everyone in Team Everlasting saw his health, their faces turned pale. That damage was way too high. How many skill points did that windward formation put into Death's Door? The value in Death's Door didn't lie in its high damage. For pro players, its AoE crowd control effects were more favorable. Even though there was only one target at this moment, the crowd control still existed. After being sucked into the door, Leopold could not be controlled. The collision between the two curse arrows had ended. The energy collision dissipated as windward formation continued to wave his staff. Corrosion, Soul Strike, Soul Slice, Engulf, Surrender Life. Curses and attacks were released one after the other. Ever since Leopold had been grabbed by Death's Door, the damage received never ceased. When the effects of Death's Door ended, Leopold fell into the water. Splash. Chapter 812. Map Choice Joke. The water's surface never returned to its calm state. Windward formation's attacks didn't stop once, chasing Leopold into the water. The water would have some effect on both characters and skills, and the water battle training for pro plays was to help familiarize them with these effects. Team Everlasting's warlock was hoping that he might get an opportunity to turn the tides upon falling into the water. He could use the experience he had with water battles to escape from the opponent's attacks, but he soon realized that his opponent's grasp of this was no worse than his own. No, it should be that it was even better. So falling into the water turned out to be a misfortune for Team Everlasting. With the movement speed he had currently, he didn't know if he would be able to escape from windward formation's attack range. In the second round, Team Everlasting's sharpshooter tried to find 1-inch Ash and corner him in the water, but because he fell into an ambush of ghost boundaries from 1-inch Ash, he never managed to carry out his plan. Yet in this round, such a plan was completed by Wei Chen. Team Everlasting's Leopold didn't get another chance to return to the veranda, being continuously suppressed in the water by windward formation. When he eventually returned to the surface, it was in the form of a corpse. Happy claimed victory once more in the third round. The spectating face-slappers' speechlessness was evident. With this loss by Team Everlasting, they took quite a huge blow. This round was lost even more clearly than the second. In the last round, they could say that the sharpshooter had accidentally fell into his opponent's ambush, but for this round, the two warlocks fought head-to-head. Happy's victory showed off their players' experience and their advantage in equipment. Because Leopold hadn't gotten a chance to close in on windward formation enough to check his equipment, Team Everlasting still had no idea what windward formation had equipped. But from his increased cast range, it could be seen that windward formation had better equipment than Leopold. If they had equipment that could increase cast range by 3 body units, they would have given it to Leopold from the start. They didn't have it, but Happy had. That was an advantage in equipment. Their home game advantage had long since been scrapped in the second round. Their belief in the superiority of their characters had taken a harsh blow in the third round, but this exchange only revealed how terrifying windward formation's cast range was. His true advantage was something they had yet to experience. Windward formation's 4,920 skill points would be terrifying if put in the Pro League, but in Team Happy, this was a rather low number. Low enough that Wei Chen hesitated if he should use a different account or not. Don't lose hope now. On Team Everlasting's side, someone broke the silence of the training room. The one who spoke was Heian, their team leader. At the same time, he was also a part of the team. Wu Chen was their captain, true, but in their team there was also Heian. And he was team leader, having power over the captain. In the Glory Circle, team leader was an antique title, now known as club manager. This was a position that truly had power over the team. For captains, they actually only had the right to give advice, but most teams treasured the advice of their captain, making it seem as if the captain had the power to make decisions. However, it wasn't like that. If the manager decided to ignore the captain's advice entirely, that was perfectly okay. With one of the team members having such a position, Wu Chen's position as captain was a little awkward and his power within the team was limited. At a time like this, Wu Chen hadn't even spoken, being the captain, yet Heian took the role of leader to comfort everyone. This was because of his two positions. The situation was just out of our expectations, that's all. These inconsequential characters can only be hidden to temporarily give them an advantage once in the arena. Heian spoke so, but in reality, Happy had thoroughly shocked him, too. He obviously couldn't express his surprise either. He could only describe the situation as if these surprises were just some insignificant attempts to pull the advantage to their side. This way, his team members would be able to relax a little. Heian's words did as they intended to. Team Everlasting's members relaxed upon hearing them. Next up was the group competition. There was only a small pause between it and the individual competition, but their lineup had long since been decided and couldn't be changed. At the moment, the two players about to battle were both impatient to get on with it. In the stands, the face-slappers weren't sure what to think. They had so much hope in Team Everlasting, but they somehow lost 2 matches in the individual competition. This made them want to rage at Team Everlasting. However, it was just an individual competition. There was still the group and team competitions. Maybe they should stay and watch a little longer. The arrogant face-slappers were silenced by Happy's 2 victories. The public chat became much more normal as well. It was mostly the true fans of Team Everlasting giving them some encouragement. The group arena competition finally began, and the first participant of each team entered the stage. Team Happy, Battle Mage Soft Mist. Team Everlasting, Chi Master Heavenly Rage. As of late, Soft Mist was definitely the most well-known member of Happy and also the one the face-slappers hated the most. The experts they had hope in all fell beneath Soft Mist's spear. And when the one person who could defeat Soft Mist appeared, she won back the match quickly. With victories and losses on both sides, they couldn't really say anything about that one defeat. But here, in the Challenger League, there were rules to these matches. If she lost this match, then they didn't have to worry about her winning it back, because she had no chance to do that here. Everyone could use this chance to say whatever they wished. Thinking of this, the silent face slappers became excited once more. Slowly, different voices rose from the crowd, all giving encouragement to Team Everlasting's Heavenly Rage. For a moment, it seemed like Heavenly Rage was a celebrity player, receiving the hopes of all the spectators. Entering the competitors' areas, loading the competition map. When the map was revealed, even the audience felt faint. It was still Riverside Veranda. It was hard for the face slappers to hold in their mockery. Since they wanted to see Team Happy humiliated, they were supporting Team Everlasting right now, but don't forget, not everyone was here to see Team Happy humiliated. In the audience, there were a neutral few who were just here out of curiosity, or even those who held hope in Team Happy. Though they weren't many, seeing Team Everlasting's never-changing choice of Riverside Veranda, why wouldn't they speak up against it? Taunting came from the crowd. Team Everlasting's choice was an embarrassment. There was nothing wrong with their original idea. Since there wouldn't be an overlap of characters in the individual and group competitions, they wanted to use the field advantage to its fullest. Though this map choice was a little utilitarian, they couldn't afford to be careless in the Challenger League. Unfortunately, despite choosing this map, Team Everlasting still lost 2 rounds during the individual competition. And in these 2 rounds, their losses were in part due to the map choice. Now, this choice of map was more like a joke. The audience's taunts were vicious, but they didn't understand that Team Everlasting hadn't thought it would turn out like this. It was too late now. Luckily, these taunts couldn't affect the characters who had entered the arena. From the start of the match, the characters fighting couldn't see the public chat, and the private chats between characters would also be forbidden. This was made so that the players in the arena wouldn't get any outside help, with the audience having a bird's-eye view and all. But there was no one there to enforce this, with this online match in the Challenger League. If there was anyone giving the players information offline, no one would know. They couldn't even stop the dirty move of people getting others to play for them. With the rules announced, they hoped that people would act responsibly and follow them. If it was actually found that you weren't following the rules, then naturally that wouldn't be good for you. And even if you never got caught, you couldn't use these tricks throughout the entire league. You would get exposed as soon as you got to the offline matches. So there wouldn't be too much of an effect on the final results. The Alliance couldn't really do anything about it. With the current situation, they could only let it happen in these first rounds. In regards to this, Team Happy was very responsible. In the first match when Steam Bun got lost, no one went up to help. Even for victory, everyone made sure it was a fair match. That was what it meant to be a good sport. As the countdown fell, the group competition officially started. With how often Soft Mist appeared before, the face slappers were very familiar with this character, to the point where they knew every piece of equipment she wore. But when Soft Mist entered the arena, the audience realized that they couldn't recognize her at all. Was this that Soft Mist? Her equipment had changed so much. The audience had noticed this change with Steam Bun and Windward Formation, too, but they only had a vague impression of these 2 characters, nothing like their understanding of Soft Mist. Now as Soft Mist stepped in, everyone immediately noticed that she was different from before. Team Everlasting had researched their opponents, but they didn't count on familiarity to judge the change in the character. They could tell from one look that Steam Bun Invasion's equipment had changed, and so had Windward Formation's. It was just that Windward Formation's victory made them realize it wasn't as they thought, it was more terrifying. Though Ian had said it was just a small trick to surprise them, Team Everlasting's members couldn't help but feel uneasy when seeing that Soft Mist had also undergone a massive change. Soft Mist's equipment wouldn't suddenly become very powerful, would it? Their worries were accurate. Out of all of them, Soft Mist's equipment had changed the most. Now, she was wearing 5 pieces of silver equipment. In the Pro League, this was nothing, but on this grassroots character, it was something most wouldn't dream to think about. Chapter 813. Air of a Professional. Battle Mage Soft Mist vs Chi Master Heavenly Rage. The first round of the group arena finally began. As Team Happy's most infamous character, how could Team Everlasting's Chi Master not be wary of Soft Mist? Especially after seeing the new set of equipment on Soft Mist. The shadow of Leopold's loss coiled around him. However, Heavenly Rage's opening move was very courageous. Although Chi Masters were fighters, their close combat skills weren't actually that outstanding. A Chi Master's skill kit consisted mostly of mid-range attacks, but they didn't have as long of a range as gunners. In any case, Chi Masters effectively had a longer range than battle mages. The first to make the first move should be the Chi Master. Many of the Chi Master skills were AoE attacks, which were especially a threat on Riverside Veranda, which had land and water. The land portion consisted of the veranda, so the space was already quite limited. For a class with lots of AoE like Chi Masters, it was easy to force the opponent into the water. Team Everlasting's main classes generally had this advantage. It was just that in the individual competition, the Launcher and Warlock weren't able to show this advantage. The Chi Master was wary of Soft Mist. He didn't dare give Soft Mist room to maneuver freely. As soon as Soft Mist stepped into his attack range, he launched his offense. Heavenly Rage rolled his palms and a Chi bullet shot out. Soft Mist easily dodged it. Heavenly Rage had already jumped into the air and pushed out with his two hands, AoE attack, Sky-Piercing Strike. A powerful stream of Chi burst out from Heavenly Rage's hands towards the veranda. The AoE coverage was extremely large. If Soft Mist continued to advance, the attack would certainly hit her. If she retreated backwards, she might just be able to escape, but to make this judgment, it would require her to have a very clear understanding of Heavenly Rage's first attack. How could the purpose of a simple Chi bullet just be to deal some damage? Of course not. That attack was only to restrict his opponent. It wasn't to restrict Soft Mist's movements, but to distract the player controlling Soft Mist. The purpose of the Chi bullet was to hinder Tang-Ru from noticing his Sky-Piercing Strike. By the time she noticed this attack, it would be too late for her to dodge. This was fairly simple trick. Even normal players understood that in PvP, it was best to keep the opponent in your line of sight so that you could observe the opponent's movements. However, this Chi bullet wasn't enough to fluster Tang-Ru and cause her to look away from her opponent's movements. To put it plainly, this attack was a way for the Chi Master to probe out her skill. To his surprise, such a shallow method was actually going to work. Soft Mist seemed to misjudge the AoE coverage of the skill and continue to rush forward. In this case, Sky-Piercing Strike would undoubtedly hit Soft Mist. Pulling off such a simple maneuver caught him unprepared. His original plan was to follow up with another attack, after Soft Mist avoided this one, but the opponent was actually going to be hit, so he had to change up his plans. Sky-Piercing Strike covered that stretch of the veranda. The surrounding water rippled intensely from the shockwave. After being hit by this attack, Soft Mist immediately rolled. She rolled so quickly and unexpectedly that Heavenly Rage's following two attacks actually missed. Soft Mist leapt up and stepped onto the railing on the edges of the veranda. She jumped again directly over the water and landed on the stretch on the other side. In the blink of an eye, Soft Mist and Heavenly Rage now stood on the same stretch of the veranda. The Chi Master was startled. Soft Mist didn't misjudge that Sky-Piercing Strike. Rather, she intentionally didn't dodge it. She used the shock wave from the attack to give her a speed boost. Her roll then put her at a distance, where she could jump over the water and stand in the same line as Heavenly Rage. The Chi Master didn't dare let Soft Mist get close. Chi rippled from Heavenly Rage, who gathered that Chi into a fist. He punched and the Chi transformed into a dragon. Chi Master skill, Dragon Wave. The dragon could be controlled by the player. After sending out the Chi Dragon, the player could freely change its direction. Apart from attacking the opponent, it could be used to hit the user or a teammate. When it hit the user or the teammate, Dragon Wave wouldn't deal damage. Instead, it would give a buff that increased the target's fighting strength. Right now, the Chi Master wasn't planning on eating this Chi Dragon for himself. He threw it directly at Soft Mist. Soft Mist lifted her spear, which glinted with cold light. Dust swept off her feet as she headed straight for Heavenly Rage. Dragon breaks the ranks. Soft Mist didn't dodge. She actually decided to contest with Dragon Wave head-on. That's completely unreasonable. Team Everlasting's Chi Master thought to himself at this moment. Not dodging Dragon Wave was too crazy. Dragon Wave did not only deal damage. When it hit the opponent, it would also weaken the opponent's attack power and attack speed. Yes, the instant that Dragon Wave struck Soft Mist, the debuff was applied. However, Dragon Breaks the Ranks continued to head towards him. Heavenly Rage immediately sprinted away. After being hit by Dragon Wave, the might and speed of Dragon Breaks the Ranks fell significantly. Heavenly Rage immediately jumped twice just outside of its range. At this moment, Soft Mist didn't stop attack. Her spear suddenly grew in length, transforming into a dragon that pounced towards Heavenly Rage. Rising Dragon soars the sky. After Dragon breaks the ranks, she connected it with another high-level skill, Rising Dragon soars the sky. There didn't seem to be a pause at all. What type of hand speed was that? How did she time that? The instant Dragon breaks the ranks completed, she had to also complete the actions required for Rising Dragon soars the sky in order to connect those two attacks seamlessly. If she completed the actions slightly late, it would have come out later. If she was slightly early, the attack wouldn't come out, unless she cancelled Dragon breaks the rank first. Not bad. Even Yi Shu was impressed by it. He obviously wasn't surprised at the difficulty of the maneuver. Rather, it was clear progress for Tang Ru. Yi Shu never had any doubts about Tang Ru's hand speed. Her biggest obstacle was turning her absolute hand speed into effective hand speed as well as working on her precision and timing. Soft Mist had just obtained a complete new set of equipment. Her stats were vastly different, and she only had a day to familiarize herself with it. And after being hit by Dragon Wave, her stats changed again, yet Tang Ru was still able to grasp the timing and pull this combo off. If this wasn't just luck, then Tang Ru's sensitivity towards her character and mastery over her class had reached new heights. At such a distance, even with the debuff from Dragon Wave, Heavenly Rage could not dodge this attack. Just when everyone could already picture the explosion from Rising Dragon soars the sky, the attack suddenly stopped. Force cancel. Only Tang Ru could stop the skill. After being devoured by Rising Dragon soars the sky and left in the air, even Heavenly Rage had a hard time believing it, when he saw Soft Mist retract her spear. What's going on? Chen Guo was dumbfounded. She thought Soft Mist had made an error. However, Rising Dragon soars the sky had perfectly hit her opponent. What could she be doing to accidentally cancel her attack? She had been too worried. She looked over at Yi Shu, who was still smiling. His expression was filled with happiness. Rising Dragon was cancelled, but Soft Mist didn't stop attacking. Under Dragon Wave's debuff, Soft Mist stepped forward. She struck out with Sky Strike to knock Heavenly Rage even higher into the air. Then, Tyrant's Destruction, Double Stab, Sky Strike, Chasers. Chen Guo finally understood. Rising Dragon soars the sky had a long-ending lag. For Soft Mist, she wouldn't be able to connect any other attacks after using it. As a result, she abandoned Rising Dragon and cancelled it. Even though she would lose a large portion of the damage from it, she could still utilize this skill's grab effect to restrict Heavenly Rage. The following combo clearly allowed her to deal more damage than the loss from Rising Dragon. Moreover, she also maintained her advantage after using the combo, while getting rid of the Dragon Wave debuff. If she had completed Rising Dragon, it would have certainly felt good, but she would not have been able to do anything more. Her battle with Heavenly Rage would reset, but she would also have the debuff from Dragon Wave. In just an instant, Tang Ru instantly determined that it was better not to finish Rising Dragon and cancelled the skill. Chen Guo realized that Tang Ru was becoming more and more like a pro player. Her decision-making had already surpassed her understanding. Amazing. Seeing Tang Ru, Chen Guo couldn't help but be envious. She also wanted to be god at glory. Unfortunately for her, that wasn't a possibility. She could only place her hopes and dreams onto the team. Seeing Tang Ru's growth, she could also appreciate Yi Shu's joy. We have to win. Chen Guo clenched her fists. She really wanted to see these people and their characters stand on stage. No, she wanted to see them as champions. Chapter 814. Team Everlasting's Ace. The improvement of Tang Ru's technical ability and her judgment of making a trade-off between the damage from a powerful move and the opportunity to gain the upper hand all displayed the air of a professional. Never mind Team Everlasting, even Yi Shu was surprised at Tang Ru's decision-making. The players' moods had changed by now. Soft Mist was as resolute as ever, but Team Everlasting's Heavenly Rage was starting to feel the pressure. A high-end move like Vanishing Step wasn't something that Tang Ru could use, but even with a normal juggle, Team Everlasting's Chi Master failed to regain the advantage twice. After their belief in having field and character advantage was shattered, their belief in their player's superiority had finally been shattered as well. Eventually, Heavenly Rage managed to grasp the third chance to escape from the juggle. But he was still in a disadvantageous position. Soft Mist's attacks were unrelenting, not giving Heavenly Rage a chance to struggle free. In the exchange, the health of both sides were continuously decreasing, but it was obvious that Heavenly Rage's health was falling faster. He managed to find a few chances to counterattack and deal some damage to Soft Mist, but it wasn't much. His counterattacks had no effect on the overall situation, and that was probably why his opponent wasn't very concerned about them. Team Everlasting's player became more and more impatient, unable to calm himself as the battle progressed. Eventually, he left an opening that Tang Ru mercilessly exploited, using a combo that blasted him against one of the pillars of the veranda. Absolute advantage. But she didn't let her guard down. Soft Mist's fierce offense never wavered throughout the battle, even when her victory was certain, she didn't show a hint of faltering. Heavenly Rage finally fell. Defeat wasn't a result that they couldn't accept. The problem was that Soft Mist had only lost less than a fourth of her health in this match. There seemed to be an unbridgeable gap between the two players. Was it really unbridgeable? Not necessarily. Skill was an intangible concept, unlike health, which could be calculated. The difference in health of the two didn't necessarily represent the difference in skill, but it revealed the difference in performance during the match. This difference silenced all the spectating face-slappers once more. They had no chance to unleash their mockery ever since the second individual competition. Holding it in for so long was painful. And now, Soft Mist was gearing up to face her second opponent, Team Everlasting's Elementalist, in the group arena with more than 3/4 of her health left. If she lost this match, how would they be able to mock her? They had to think carefully about what to say. After all, she had already beaten one opponent, losing to the second wasn't uncommon. Yet, before they could think of how to mock her, the situation on the battlefield was already becoming clear. Soft Mist somehow still had the advantage. She wouldn't win again, would she? Everyone looked on with shock. Team Everlasting had sent out an Elementalist, which Soft Mist had already managed to close in on. Compared to Chi Masters, Elementalists were garbage at close combat. Now, his health was draining away like someone had pulled the plug on it. When he finally managed to shake her loose, his health was already at the same level as Soft Mist's. He had entered the arena with a 25% health advantage, and now that advantage had vanished. Though he managed to escape from an undesirable situation, he didn't get any chance to rest. Soft Mist charged fiercely towards him. Two mage classes with very different styles clashed. First, the Elementalist would kite the Battle Mage around, chipping at her health, then the Battle Mage would close in and tear through the Elementalist with her close combat advantage. But this time, the Elementalist didn't manage to find another chance to escape from her grasp. Erupting with a final round of vicious attacks, Soft Mist defeated the Elementalist with a fifth of her health to spare, and geared up to face Team Everlasting's third player. The spectators had nothing to say, but those who had hope and supported Happy started to cheer wildly. At first, they wouldn't dare discard their composure for this. Though they thought Team Happy was interesting, and wanted to see what they could do, they were like the face slappers, not believing that Team Happy truly had the power to go up against Team Excellent Era. This was undebatable. Never mind outsiders, even those within Team Happy, Yi Shu and Wei Chen and the others, they admitted it. If they really faced off against Team Excellent Era the way they were now, their chances were extremely low. These people also had some misgivings about Team Happy's strength and hadn't formed much of an attachment to Team Happy, so they had to be careful with their support. They wouldn't publicly yell and cheer about it, because there were a bunch of spectators just waiting to see Happy humiliated. This small section of supporters lacked confidence and couldn't tie themselves to Happy's name. They didn't want their support to be treated like a joke if Team Happy actually lost. But now, Soft Mist had consecutively beat down two people and entered the third match with 1/5 of her health remaining. This sort of advantage was very hard to turn around. Seeing a definite victory for Team Happy, these supporters finally dared to express their passion and energy, cheering encouragements for Team Happy. This support was even more disgusting than eating a fly to the face slappers, but they had no way of retorting. Team Everlasting's last player would have to beat Tang Ru and then win against another 2 consecutive matches in order to take back the group competition. There was no need to elaborate on how hard that would be. Team Everlasting's mood was even worse. What the hell is this? Heian, who remained calm upon losing 2 individual competitions, could no longer stay quiet after 2 people were beaten by Soft Mist. He could accept 1 defeat, but having 1 player beat 2 of theirs was a major loss that he couldn't take. The Chi Master and Elementalist that lost these 2 rounds hung their heads in shame, feeling disheartened. Hearing Heian's words, the Chi Master raised his head, opening his mouth to speak, but then heard Heian continuing. Is this soft mist really that strong? The Elementalist player also raised his head, but stayed silent after exchanging a glance with the Chi Master player. Heian didn't continue to speak because he had to prepare for battle. Team Everlasting's core character, Spellblade Go Forth, was currently Heian's character. That meant Heian's position in the team wasn't just as an ordinary team member, but as Team Everlasting's ace. With his character now in the arena, Heian didn't have the time to lecture the two players who had been defeated. He had to go back and turn the tides, as the ace player. 1 versus 3? Heian sneered. It was probable that the only one who believed that Team Everlasting could win back the group arena was himself. Because the tide of the match was now in his complete control and he had utter confidence in himself. The superiority he displayed at that time wasn't baseless. Speaking of strength, he, the player who was also the manager, was the best in the current Team Everlasting. As their core player, his character naturally possessed the best equipment as well. Go Forth had 8 pieces of silver equipment. Team Everlasting only had 32 pieces of silver equipment in total, and 10 characters. Among them, their ace Go Forth possessed 1/4 of their silver equipment. Maybe it was because of this treatment that this character became the ace, or maybe it was because this character became the ace that it received such treatment. Either way, it was a positive loop. Go Forth was Team Everlasting's strongest character, and they had never abandoned this core character even after being eliminated from the Pro League. His character was immensely powerful and he had confidence in himself. 1 versus 3? That was exactly what Heian thought to do. Go Forth appeared in one of the corners of Riverside Veranda. 3, 2, 1, match begin. Despite having only 1/5 of her health left, Soft Mist was as direct as ever. As soon as the countdown was over, she was already streaking down the path she took in both the previous rounds. As for Go Forth, he immediately turned and jumped into the water upon the fall of the countdown. Home game advantage? Character advantage? Player superiority? All of Team Everlasting's advantages seemed to have been shattered by Happy, but now Heian was planning to reinstate them and show everyone that Happy was nothing but cannon fodder compared to Team Everlasting. Being different from the others, Heian's choice of action made Tangru's charge lose meaning. With the current distance between them, she had no idea where Heian's Go Forth was. She could only slow down, carefully keeping an eye on her surroundings as she advanced. Tangru didn't impatiently try to find her opponent, she had to make sure her character was safe first. But having scoured half the map, Tangru still didn't find her target. If it wasn't for the omniscient view the spectators had, this sort of running and hiding would be boring, but with their omniscient view, the spectators knew that Go Forth was settled under a part of the veranda. If Tangru only kept notice of the water's surface while on the veranda, she wouldn't be able to find him unless she entered the water as well. Tangru didn't seem to have such plans. Soft Mist was still moving along the veranda, but step by step, she entered Go Forth's attack range. Heian was patient and didn't press on the moment Soft Mist came into range. A little closer, just a little closer. Seeing the distance between them become more appropriate, the silver weapon in Go Forth's hand, Aqua Lightning Lightsaber, began to flash. The Spellblade signature move, Wave Formation, activate. Chapter 815. The Careful Heian. Electric Wave Formation. The skill activated silently and by the time Tangru noticed, the electric wave formation's ball of lightning had already formed. The area within 15 units of it was filled with sparks. When the skill was activated, Soft Mist was electrocuted once. It was unavoidable. Tangru hastily had her character step out of range. With only 1/5 of her health left, she didn't dare delay. Soft Mist attempted to charge out of the electric wave formation through the shortest route. But who knew that this was exactly what Heian wanted? From where Go Forth was settled, he could see half of Soft Mist's figure, but this was more than enough. The second formation was sent out, but this time it was an ice wave formation. The two formations overlapped, trapping Soft Mist within them. Seeing this, Tangru realized that her opponent had been prepared for this and could see Soft Mist's movements. No matter how she tried to escape, she would probably be incapable of shaking him off. Making a decision, she jumped up resolutely and dived for the water next to the veranda. Tangru displayed her usual brave decisiveness. By jumping into the water, she immediately saw Go Forth, who had settled under the veranda. Without a moment's hesitation, she charged forth with a dragon breaks the ranks. The flow of water split into two around soft mist. In the water, the charge speed of dragon breaks the ranks was greatly reduced, but the drag force from the water affected everything. Even though attacks were slowed, dodging was also slowed. Heian was prepared for this as well. With a swing of aqua lightning lightsaber, a strike of ice wave sword was sent out. Shards of ice shot off from the blade, as if dispersed by the flow of the water, but anyone who understood the settings in Glory would know that water did have some effect on the power of skills, especially for fire, which was at a major disadvantage in water. On the other hand, ice-type damage wasn't just unaffected by the water, but was actually strengthened by it. This ice wave sword looked like it had been scattered by the water, but actually its range had been silently expanded. It didn't look like much, but its power was immense. The reinforced ice wave sword met the charging soft mist and swept over her. A hit. Soft mist's movement speed was slowed even further by ice wave sword. Heian's go forth had already left his original position, already preparing a new attack to unleash on the approaching soft mist. Of course, Tang Ru knew that the situation wasn't looking good for her, but didn't cancel dragon breaks the ranks. With the distance between her and go forth, there weren't any attack that she could hit. If she stopped now, she still had to close in on go forth. That wasn't as efficient as if she just used this dragon breaks the ranks as a way to increase her movement speed. Tang Ru's choice was obviously made out of having no other choice. She was at a major disadvantage, and Heian had this situation entirely under his own control. If it wasn't for having another two opponents to face later on, Heian would have just charged forwards to go head-to-head with soft mist and diminish what remaining health she possessed. Here, Heian chose a safer method, deciding not to face soft mist head-on, keeping his distance and slowly dragging it out. This was the worst kind of style for Tang Ru. Soft mist only had a fifth of her health starting out in this round, and then she had been ambushed too. She was already at red blood, how could she afford to drag this out? On the other hand, if they went head-to-head, she might not win, but she could at least take out some of her opponent's life. Unfortunately, Heian was very cunning, not giving her such a chance. Slowly chipping away at soft mist's health in the water, he used the spellblade's slight advantage in attack range to chip her to death. Heh, that wasn't so bad. After he won, Heian turned to joke with the other members of Team Everlasting. The continuous losses had reduced Team Everlasting's morale to ice. And for this victory, no matter how he went to describe it, he had only won against an opponent with 1/5 of her health left. There wasn't enough meaning to it. That's why Heian had to appear as if it took him nothing to do. The more it seemed like an easy victory, the better it would boost morale. It was unfortunate that after defeating this opponent who only had a fifth of her health, Happy still had two players who hadn't gone up yet. Being at such a disadvantage, Team Everlasting couldn't avoid feeling uneasy. The Challengers League was far too cruel. It was possible that a single loss here could cut this year short for Team Everlasting. Who could relax with Heian's reassurance when thinking of this? This was all Heian could accomplish for now. He needed a real and valuable victory to bring hope back to his teammates. The second round of the group arena started shortly. Team Happy's second player was the launcher chasing Haze. No matter who it was, Heian didn't dare to let down his guard. As soon as the countdown 3, 2, 1 was over, his go-forth turned and dived into the water once more. Launchers had an absolute attack range advantage. When facing head-to-head, the launcher always attacked first. By the time you got into attacking range, you would have already received quite some damage. If your charge wasn't successful, the damage you took would be more than just a little. If this was an individual competition, Heian wouldn't be afraid of charging forward, but they were fighting the group competition right now. After chasing Haze, there was still another opponent that he had to fight. So, like last time with Soft Mist, he decided to use a careful method. How could Heian guess that his opponent was actually much more nervous than he was? In the first 3 seconds of the match, Chen Guo was close to entering a space where she couldn't even tell where her fingers were. Her mind was entirely blank. There were things moving in front of her eyes, but her brain seemed unable to receive these signals sent by her eyes. Chen Guo was completely unprepared. Yishu actually pushed her into the lineup. He had never discussed this with her beforehand. And to think that Chen Guo was unhappy that Yishu saw her as a stopgap for the number of members in their team. Now that she was sent to the battlefield as an official player, Chen Guo realized she would rather be a stopgap. The pressure of being in the arena far overwhelmed her expectations. Thinking of what the results of this match could mean for them made Chen Guo terrified. In her mind, she couldn't possibly win. The opponent was a pro player, the character was the ace of a pro team. As for her, even with the Heavenly Domain challenge she had help from Tang Ru to pass. From this angle, she wasn't even as good as Concealed Light. Concealed Light had at least completed the Heavenly Domain challenge on his own. Nervous, she was so nervous. From the beginning of the match, she hadn't had a moment of calm. When she came back to herself, she realized the match had started and her opponent was nowhere to be seen. This made her even more nervous. Ah! When did the match start? Where'd he go? Chen Guo yelped in surprise like she would when playing the typical in-game arena matches. Everyone looked at her with serious expressions, but no one answered. Chen Guo snapped back to reality. This was a competition, it might be online and there might be no one watching them, but this was a real alliance-organized competition. Chen Guo tried to calm herself down. She couldn't see the opponent, but of course he couldn't be outside of the map. He must have gone underwater again. This was how this guy dealt with Tang Ru in the last round. The memory was fresh in her mind, and she even thought scornfully about the opponent's dirty tricks. However, Hien couldn't hear her, so all she did was make Chao Yifan feel awkward. Hien's plan in the last round was rather akin to how he had won his individual match. Chen Guo didn't get the chance to make any more scornful comments, seeing how the character for the second round was just revealed to be her Chasing Haze. Surprise. Seeing the smile on Yishu's face, Chen Guo was frustrated. Was this really the time to joke around? Letting her into the arena, was that really a responsible thing to do? But before she could yell, Yishu's smile disappeared, saying to her, "Good luck. Even if you lose, it's okay, you have me at your back." Chen Guo was still quite displeased, but she couldn't say anything. The lineup couldn't be changed, after all. She rushed to take up the position. Yet as soon as it started, she was besieged by her nerves. Even telling herself that Yishu was there to hold fort didn't work. Now, Chen Guo had finally gotten into her competitive mood. It was just that Hien's go-forth had dived into the water, leaving her helpless. With her skill, she didn't dare jump into the water to fight him. She could only wander the veranda, occasionally firing a few shots into the water, hoping to find a hint of go-forth. Hien still didn't let go-forth close in and found an appropriate position to hide and watch Chasing Haze's movements on the veranda. Hien still hadn't figured out the depth of Happy's skill, so he planned to observe the opponent before making any moves. He would be able to figure out his opponent's vague skill level from seeing what moves his opponent made. Yet as Chen Guo started to shoot at the water, it seemed like a fair choice to make, but Chen Guo's blasts were completely chaotic. Like in the second individual match, Team Everlasting's sharpshooter attempted to force Chao Yifan's 1-inch ash from the water, but his attacks had a method to it. He had made estimations on 1-inch ash's position, range and distance, but for Chen Guo? It was just wherever Chasing Haze walked, she would blast, no calculations, no judgments. Is she pretending to be dumb to bait me? Hien was very much on guard, even when seeing Chen Guo's clumsy technique, he didn't make a move. He observed for a while longer, until Chasing Haze had walked more or less on top of his go-forth. She still fired a shot to the left, a shot to the right and moved on. Hien finally confirmed that this person wasn't playing dumb, she was actually dumb. So, after Chasing Haze walked by, Hien attacked at once. Multiple wave formations were thrown out and Chasing Haze looked wildly around before finally finding Go-Forth's position, but her lack of technique had already been witnessed by Hien. He wasn't afraid at all to have Go-Forth jump out of the water to exchange blows with Chasing Haze. The situation was extremely one-sided. When Chasing Haze fell, Hien's Go-Forth had only lost a sliver of his life. That meant he had managed to get to the deciding match in near-perfect shape. The audience was bubbling with excitement, and so were Team Everlasting's players.